This is Jacob over at Mortgage Coach. Just wanted to show you how to do that split MI premium. I'll show you a couple of ways actually. There's two different ones. I'll show you the product that you're talking about first, and then I'll show you another one that on conventional loans allows you to roll in a chunk of the upfront premium and then have the borrower bring in the excess. But first I will show you the one that you had described where if they bring in the 0.75 fee upfront in cash, then they get a lower 0.3 monthly MI. So let's do that one. So this one is going to be split MI, and I'll just put it at 5%, and we'll do a 4.75 rate for 30 years. We're not going to worry about the closing cost details right here, but there's one more factor. Even though this is not an FHA program, you want to get that upfront MIP field so that you can do this. Now it's up to you where you want it to show up. You can actually itemize that fee if you want, or you can have it show in the upfront MIP field. I'll show you both options here. So, and I'll show you what it looks like on the output. So you notice once I checked FHA yes, I get this field here, and I can actually put in my 0.75. And then I'm not going to check to add it to the loan amount because they're going to be required to bring this in at close. Now if I check this, it's actually going to increase the amount financed by this amount, so I'm not going to do that for this case. And then of course when we get to the monthly MI, all we're going to do is put in the lower factor, and for conventional is just leave it at 78% cutoff. You won't need this checkbox to recalculate the MI on balance every year. That's really only for true FHA loans and USDA loans. And then you won't need a monthly cutoff either. We want it to just cut off when it hits 78%. Now if you are showing tax benefit, you can feel free to check this box because MI is still tax deductible for right now. It may change in the future, but they vote on it every year. So let's do a second product. This is going to be a split upfront. And I'm actually going to copy that other product so I don't have to redo all the data entry. So 5% down, and most of these ones that allow you to do a single premium buyout of the MI will allow you to finance in up to 2%. So we've got a 97% LTV limit by financing this in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 2% here, and you can see that what that comes out to. I'm going to finance it into the loan, so that's going to increase my amount financed by this much, but we're still staying within the guidelines. And then I need to make sure that my borrower brings in the other 0.25% that's required for that buyout. So what I would do is go into the detail, add a custom fee, call it MI buyout, and then that is an APR fee, so I'll leave it as APR. And then you can actually just enter the 0.25 here, and it'll calculate what that is, and it'll call for that at close. So now if I hit apply to loan, you can see that it's showing that APR cost there. So this is a single premium buyout, meaning they've financed in this premium and they're also being required to pay this at close, but by doing that they don't have to pay monthly MI at all. So I can actually get rid of this entirely, and of course that nets a better result for them. Now the other option, and I'll go back to your original one where we've got the 0.75 up front in cash and then the client gets a lower 0.3. There's another way to do this too, and I'll copy that original and I'll call this one split with seller. So assuming you haven't exceeded your 3% concessions limits, you can actually have the seller pay part of this. So you might want to contact your MI company to find out if that's okay per their guidelines, but it usually is. So the same thing would happen, but instead of making it in this upfront MIP field, if you want the seller to be responsible for it, I'm actually just going to copy this figure out. Next, I don't even need to do that, I'll just delete it. And then in my closing cost detail, I'm going to add a new custom fee. And actually, I could probably use the other one that I did, the MI buyout fee. So I'll hit add fee, and I just type an M on my keyboard until I get to it. There's my MI buyout. I can put in my 0.75, and if I want the seller to cover this, I'll just change it to paid by seller. So now this is no longer a borrower paid fee. We can apply it to the loan. You can see it looks like a contribution now. And then when we get to the end, we've still got that 0.3 factor. So this is one where instead of having the borrower pay for that split, the seller's paying for it. And of course, if you have a lender credit or something that can do that, you could obviously mark that as lender, or you know, if there was a broker credit of some kind. I assume you're not using broker credits, but there's a couple of different ways to do this. So just to kind of give you a recap, the split MI as you wrote it up for me is just, you want to put that 0.75 in your upfront MIP field, and you would do that because you check the FHA yes box. It won't say FHA anywhere on the program, so don't worry about that. So you put your 0.75 in here, and then you just reduce your MI factor to the 0.3 and then leave it at 78%. The split up front was the one where they can finance in a chunk of the upfront mortgage insurance premium. So they finance in 2%, and then I put the remaining 0.25% as an APR fee that's going to be called for at close, so that they stay below that 97% LTV, which is the guideline for those single premium buyouts. And then of course by doing that, there's no MI at all. And then third option was the same kind of split, but this was the one being paid by the seller. So I just put it in the closing cost detail, call it MI buyout, and made it paid by seller. So that's about it. If you have any further questions on it, let me know. I'd be happy to give you another video or explain in more detail for you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.